So when I say we're live, I mean we are live on Facebook, we are live on YouTube, we are broadcasting out of the halls here at McCormick Place in Chicago out into the Printiverse. Thank you everybody in the booth for joining us and everybody at home tuning in. By the way, if you missed any panels that from today or you're not going to be here for the rest of the show, there's a playlist on YouTube that you can refer to, and you could just find everything on Print Media Center's Facebook page, so you can miss nothing. Thanks to our friends at Inkish TV, who are doing an amazing job directing what is now the Printiverse broadcast. Klaus on the camera back there and Tobias over there doing a fantastic job. So this panel is called Size Matters, Expanding the Bottom Line with Wide Format. And although that is a cheeky play on words, there is probably not a truer statement that almost low-hanging fruit of instant revenue is to buy a wide format machine. There's one of the manufacturers that speaks all the time and says, if your customer is not buying wide format from you, they're buying it from somebody else. They are doing it with somebody else. They are just not doing it with you. And moving into my one-stop print shop way that I think all print businesses need to go to, wide format is really a relatively low entry point. Some of the people on this panel have machines that we could buy, or two of us could chip in and start a business in our garage. These are not crazy things. And then of course you work up to the more deluxe models that do a lot of stuff. So that was my wide format preamble. I mean, obviously there's people in the booth very interested in this. Hello everybody. So let's start off with HP. Who are you, what do you do, and how does HP help wide format print business grow specifically?
Okay, thanks Deborah. First of all, thanks for letting us be here today. Happy to see some of our colleagues and happy to see everybody here. I work in the business development section at HP, and the way we look at things is we are an enabler, okay? We enable people to generate page volume. And as Deborah said earlier, you know, if they're not doing wide format with you as a printer or PSP, then they are doing it with someone else. You know, we look at things as page volume. HP is page volume, page volume, page volume, okay? And if we look at industry research today, the print market is flat. The wide format market research tells us that it grows about 8%. And then at HP, we push things like decor, which are 24% year-over-year compound growth. So what we try to do is we try to enable people with our presses so that they can generate more and more and more pages. And within that, they can generate higher dollar page volume. So really, that's kind of what we're all about, is coming out with the applications that sit on top of the presses and help people grow their business.
And we have a very well-rounded panel here. We have 3 press manufacturers, one substrate company, and 1 MIS system, which we're going to hear from right now, which are actually more than an MIS, to coin your own phrase as it is. But also turn around your tent, because I believe the booth number is only on one side. Yes, okay, perfect. Adrian, why don't you tell a little bit about who you are, what PrintIQ does, and how specifically it helps wide format business grow.
Thank you, Deborah. And yes, we do see ourselves as far more than just an MIS solution. We tag ourselves to be a management workflow solution because we go so much further up and downstream. But I'm not here to advertise so much. So my name's Adrian Fleming. I'm the sales director for PrintIQ across the world. Wide format is an area where many of our customers are growing into, or standalone wide format, large format, grand format businesses are looking at how to evolve themselves into the software space. For a general commercial printer moving into wide format, it's generally a very different mathematical equation as to how to sell, how to price, how to work with these products, as opposed to just a cut sheet or a sheet fed style device. Things like price per square foot or per square meter? Or how do I cost out the value adds like the sewing or the stitching or the other bits and pieces that go with the product? So we like to think we bring the expertise of being able to have a product specifically designed for those segments rather than just shoehorning a sheet fed or a conventional print product in there.
Thanks so much. Canon Solutions America and the wide format stylings of Randy Parr.
I think I've heard that before somewhere. Trying to remember. Thanks, Deborah. My name is Randy Parr. I'm the marketing manager for the Osage, Arizona flatbed printers for Canon Solutions. Very popular printer for a number of reasons. One of them, kind of getting back to what Tom mentioned about enabling customers, one of the great things about the Osage, Arizona is it's a true stationary flatbed, which gives you the greatest range of application versatility. And so we try to educate our customers on what's possible. When you think about somebody that's going to buy their first flatbed printer, they don't necessarily know what they can do. They might think, you know, I'm gonna corner the market on printing banners and posters, and no. You're going to go out of business if that's just what you focus on. So we try to teach customers what are the high margin applications that they can produce on our equipment or their equipment now that can actually drive their return on investment much more faster than doing those banners and posters. And really, I think it's an exciting time with the entrepreneurship of printers these days using wide format technology, and you know, decor is one example. Dimensional printing, which, you know, we're getting great feedback where we can actually print texture now. It's an exciting time, and we just want to get the word out and show people what's possible.
Thanks so much. Now we have Brian from Mutoh. You might notice that all of the banners in my booth are printed on Mutoh devices.
Very nice.
Mutoh has been a partner of the Printerverse since day one, and has printed out these banners in your showroom, I believe. You
Yes,
guys
we did.
print them out for, and
About a week ago.
I am very been in contact with your technical people many times because, as print customers know, we might design nice banners, but we cannot make a print-ready file for crap. So, thank you guys so much for troubleshooting that for me for
No problem.
2 days. Sorry.
We love supporting the Printerverse.
You extra supported it this year with my Illustrator issue, so my apologies. Brian.
Thank you. Thank you. My name's Brian Phipps. I'm the president of Mutoh America. We handle Canada all the way down to Argentina. And our booth is located on the other side of this wall. So when you get done here, if you want to learn about wide format printers, you can just walk right around there, and one of our people will be happy to talk to you. We manufacture a wide variety of wide format printers, and the reason you want to go wide format is because there's a lot of profit to be made, a lot of money to be made. What Mutoh does is we make award-winning products. We have about 20 different printers, and what's driving this market is new and exciting applications like you've been hearing on the panel. So by having these new applications, whether it's car wrapping, banners, floor graphics, printing on fabric like most of the signage that's in this trade show, on and on and on. Your imagination is your limit, really, when it comes to wide format printing. It's driven by the ink, obviously a good printer, and these incredible applications that are coming out by the different media manufacturers that have these medias that you can print on and do incredible things. So it's a very exciting time in wide format, as you're hearing, and hopefully you'll join us.
And what a perfect segue, talking about media.
Thank you. I like it. Set me right up.
It's another weird thing. Like, why is it media and substrates? Like, are they interchangeable? Like, now all of a sudden we're calling it media. It used to be called paper, and it was called substrates. Now it's called media. Like, is there a difference before you answer, paper guy? I mean,
Well, we like to think we're a little more than paper. So, but substrate, media, printer, press, whatever you want to call it, you know, it all kind of falls into the same realm for us.
so what do you do, and how does GPA help wide format business grow?
Yeah, so my name is Matt Buckley. I'm the wide format product director for GPA. GPA is really an innovation facilitator. We're out there developing and sourcing new medias to help our customers use these printing technologies to develop new markets and expand out. Whether you're talking about windows, walls, floors, vehicle wraps, interior signage, all of those types of things. We're out there looking for those unique things we can provide.
Thanks so much. This first question is specifically for the press manufacturers on the panel. And as I mentioned when we first started, with wide format having such a relatively low point of entry, what are some of the obstacles to purchasing that you are encountering most often in conversations with printers out there? And most important, how are you helping them move beyond those initial objections or fears or obstacles? Brian, you want to tackle first?
I was
Thanks.
hoping you'd pick me because that's a great question. When people come to our booth over here, the first thing we want to find out is what do they want to do? Sometimes they know, sometimes they don't know. But based on their answer, we can quickly decide, what direction we should head in, whether it's a particular application they want to do or a series of things that they want to get into. Once we know that, then we can steer them to the right product. And then a major next step is how do they get trained on how to do those things? How do they learn about it? How do they apply that application and figure it out? And where do they take it? And how do they go to market? And that's something that we've spent a lot of time, and we have a director of education, and we spend a lot of time in promoting education, training, whether it's at your place or our place, and that really is a key differentiator when you're looking for a product. Make sure that you are working with a partner that can get you everything you need from a hardware standpoint, the financing to get it done, all that, and then training not only how to use it, but how to market it, how many people buy it,
Right.
what applications do you want to go after?
So it seems like what you're saying is one of the obstacles is that they're not sure how to build a wide format business.
Right. It's all of the things that go along with a wide format business, but then what do you do, and how do you
Right.
use?
Because the press is the press, but
Right.
then what
Then
in
what?
God's name do you
Right,
do with it?
right.
Randy? I imagine you have encountered
Yeah.
this all the time. You spend your day talking to people about why
Yeah.
they should get over themselves and get into this area.
Totally. You have to understand what the customer is trying to do, or what they know or don't know they can do. It's what they don't know quite often that comes up, and they might actually underinvest in their printer, thinking that, well, I don't know exactly what I'm going to print, but this printer is cheaper than that printer. And so they get locked into this mentality that, oh, I'm saving money. But maybe what they're doing is they're limiting their application choices down the road. So I think it's important and not just because we're trying to sell them something more expensive, but it's important that we tell them, here's what you can do with your investment beyond what you just think you're going to do. And because you're in business to grow. So what you're doing today could be very different what you're doing tomorrow. So I think if you purchase a product, a tool basically, that allows you to be flexible in your business and grow it, I think is something that often gets overlooked.
HP, what are some of the most prevalent objections you hear from people who are like, I will never buy a wide format press?
Well, I think that people are used to the regular printing presses being up all the time, running 24/7. Wide format is a little bit of a hit and miss business. It's not a consistent business, although you want it to be. But there are a lot of choice points that people have to make. People have to make choice points as far as being scalable. What technology can we get into today? And then which technology can we augment in the future? And then color management is one of those things, okay? How do I maintain color
Right.
with my current offset press or litho press, and then carry that same expertise into wide format? So it's kind of tough to navigate, right? You have to pick a technology, but really one technology doesn't nut this thing. Usually it's a technology that's augmented with something else. Okay, maybe it's a latex printer, maybe it's a flatbed printer. But the choice points dictate that, look, it's not going to take one thing. You may have to find an outsource partner initially to get things going. So just as our colleague said today, there's a lot of applications that people have to learn. It's invigorating to a sales force to be able to learn those and sell those. But sometimes it's your only shot. You know, you only get a
Right.
first impression once, right? So what we try to do is we try to give a periphery of technology and a periphery of scale so that people can take a lot of those wide format invoices that maybe were $4,000 and increase them to $40,000, or those $400 ones to get them to $4,000. We want them to be able to print more and more pages. And even if some of those pages come from outside their business, at least they're building a solid, profitable business.
Thanks so much. You actually brought up a great point, which Adrian can probably help people understand. You're using your software to help people start a wide format business. And it was interesting because when you picked this panel, I actually emailed you guys back and I'm like, what is your interest in this panel? And when you told me, I was thrilled to have you here. So why don't you share a bit about how PrintIQ can really help with some of this stuff that they just mentioned?
Right. So like I mentioned in my opening remarks, I guess, the mentality or the methodology behind the average wide format job is quite different to the average sheet fed job, as I think HP alluded to before as well. Quite often it's not just about the print step. You know, if you're doing extrusions maybe for installations, or you're doing sewing, or you're doing pouching, or you've got banner stands, or you're offering services that go way beyond just putting ink on substrate, we're calling it now, not paper.
Yeah, or media.
Media, sorry, yes. Going way beyond just putting ink on media, then you need to be aware of really what are your costs and what are the implications. Where are the bottlenecks? Because often the printer is not going to be the bottleneck. I know of a customer in Australia where their bottleneck is actually their pre-press department. They can't get the artwork created and out fast enough to feed all the other machines. So they need to understand to put more staff in that area to actually get the most out of their investment. And without having good planning software and good software to be able to tell you what's going on in the factory, that's not always immediately obvious. And I'd say the last thing is that a lot of people, in my experience, that have decided to invest into wide format have been sourcing material from the trade by buying it in and reselling it. And quite often it seems to be at a wave the dead rat over the price book to understand what it is they're charging for that product. Whereas when they actually bring it in-house themselves, they really need to understand their costs to know that they can achieve similar prices.
Thanks so much. If anyone's not aware, I host with Sandy Hubbard a print chat every Wednesday at 4 o'clock on Twitter. And one of the amazing things that enables me to do is actually tap into the printer community out there and get questions from them, as well as sitting in the front row with the antennas here, we have who we fondly refer to as Jamie the printer. Jamie is from oh my God, keep doing it, Allegra Princeton. I will get it right once. And I'm sorry, Allegra Princeton, who comes here on his own time to sit here, listen to the panels, and ask questions. As well, he has gathered questions from his community, his business, his operators. So, quite frankly, the questions that I ask from the people out there and from Jamie the printer are the most important questions you're going to hear all day. As well as the people in your booth, because that is what we are kind of recreating here. A real person walking up and to ask you a question. With that, there's a question about substrates. From Omega High Impact Solutions, Print Solutions, they're in New Jersey and in Florida. And they want to say that for those people already in the wide format space, it seems like the industry is very interested in getting new people, but some of the people already in that space have some questions too. They want to know, if they're not in the market for a new press, how can they expand their business with new substrates? Matt? Yeah.
Well, to me, we really look at this and we say, in the wide format side, it almost seems endless. I mean, you can print stuff for interior, exterior, you can wrap walls, you can wrap floors, you can wrap buildings now. I think you should be talking to your substrate provider. There's so many options, different levels of different things that you can print or produce. Often I think some of our customers get kind of into a segment. I'm a commercial printer, but I only serve this industry, or I only do this. And we talked a little bit earlier about how if you're not printing it, somebody else is printing it. But do you have all of your customers' business? I mean, you can print all kinds of things. There's all kinds of innovations that are coming out when we talk about new materials as far as durability and scope and weatherability. So I think having a real conversation with your partner, your solution partner, about what's available out there. You should be having these people in regularly. We love to come in and talk to your team, talk to your salespeople, bring samples, have real conversations about what are new and innovative things. If you're partnered with somebody and they're not doing that, you're not really partnered with them.
Jamie, you have a question?
Thanks, Deborah. Yes. What we find is in our sales department that the substrates change a lot. All these equipment can run different substrates, but how do we find a place where we can get samples for our customers and show them? We know it works well, but since things are changing rapidly and new things are always coming out, is there some place where we can go on any of your sites or something to get actual printed samples rather than just here's a piece of this substrate?
Anybody want to take it? Brian?
I'll just say from Mutoh standpoint, there's several different places. One is from Mutoh. In all of our advertising, we always put, contact us for a sample. And that is actually one of our best leads, because most of the people, once they get the sample, see it, like it, then they're interested in probably moving forward. So from us, from our reseller partners, they all have demo printers, they can create them. And some of the media companies typically have printers set up, and you can get samples from them. So there's quite a variety. And then, of course, at a place like this, we're doing samples all day long, so it's a perfect place to get samples at a trade show.
Jamie, are you wanting to see random samples, or are you wanting to see your files or that customer's files on that substrate from that press?
It'll lead to that, but usually the first conversation is, have you printed on this? Where can I get a sample of it?
Okay.
We sold our hybrid printer today to a local company who we did a custom sample for. So it's a very powerful way to sell equipment, but it's also very powerful for the customer because they know what it's going to look like. They can scratch on it, they can play with it, they can bend it. And I recommend that anybody gets a sample before they purchase.
HP?
Yeah, so one of the things that's really challenging in wide format is there's a lot of material, okay? So even if you've narrowed it down to one choice, there are a ton of choices within that, okay? So, it's kind of like buying phones today, right? If you go buy a phone, there's usually a good, better, best. So for example, if you were talking about fabric-based wallpaper, well, there's probably, 200 versions of it out there. But what we try to do is we try to educate through our academies or through our locators that are on online 24/7. We try to tell our print service providers, let's pick a good, better, best, okay? And let's zero in on that and narrow down that, and let's run with it as far as we can. And once you've taken that data from either HP or from one of our partners or manufacturing partners, you narrow it down into a good, better, best, and then it just becomes a task of improving over time.
Thank you.
Any follow-ups? Anything else? Does anyone have a question for the panel? I've got tons of them, but if you guys, anybody? No? Shy? Anybody? No? You do? Yeah? No? Okay. A lot of people look like they might have questions. They just don't want to ask them. So I mentioned this before that, everybody here who's going to make an investment, regardless of the size of it, is making an investment in not just your technology, but your company as well. And, the word partner gets thrown around a lot. As a matter of fact, there's more legal terms around partner now. Who is a partner? What is a partner? There's, concerns over that word because everyone's just using it. But as far as research and development, and where are you investing money and investing back in the wide format community? what investments are you making to help people in the wide format community moving forward? Randy, you making any investments over in Canon, or is everything good?
Sure, there's a lot of investment in R&D. A lot of our money that we earn selling printers goes back into the next generation products. And some of the focus there is definitely on what can help make the customer more effective, more productive, reduce costs, improve efficiencies, things like automatic preemptive nozzle failure detection, so that they don't have a line going through their print and have to reprint it, so they don't have waste. That leads to unattended printing, so they don't need to have somebody running that printer every moment of the day. They can actually hit print at 5 o'clock, go home, come back in the morning, and the job is done. Those sort of technology improvements are really going to benefit everybody, including the manufacturer, because it all comes back to, if you sell them something today, are you going to be able to sell them something tomorrow? So really, it's our reputation that as we go forward, that we provide the right products for our customers.
HP, yeah, you have a microphone in your
Yeah,
hand?
sure. Yep. Thanks. We want to give your life back to you. Pretty simple, right? So through technology, we want to innovate over barriers that take all of your time. So as Randy said, things like nozzle checks, things like maintenance, consistent color, things like that. So that's really important to us. So in the functionality of the devices themselves, giving you a tool set that really makes your life a lot easier, so you can really manage your business and not have to manage your printer all the time. So that's really a big thing that we see. And the second thing for us is sustainability. Okay, whether it's the ink or the printing technology, it has to be better for you, it has to be better for your customers, and it has to be better for the environment, period. It's got to be dry when it comes off, it's got to be sustainable, it's got to have certification, Green Guard, FSC, AgBB. That's what people are asking for. And again, that's something we really make a lot of investments with.
So, Adrian, I assume that you do a lot of research and development by talking to people and finding out where these gaps are. I think estimation is probably a huge gap in this space, because most printers don't know how to estimate for wide format. It's not their business. How is hopefully you do something about that, because I'm not really sure, but I know that you are helping companies, and I'm assuming that estimation is something that you're in on, since it's such a problem for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope we do something in that space too, Deborah, which we do. Estimating is part of it, but I think all of the great ideas that come into our product generally originate with our customers. So shipping, something as simple as shipping, can be something that's really challenging for a general commercial printer to get their head around when it comes to wide format. Once something gets over about 4 foot long, the shipping rates radically change for that wide format piece to go out the door. And if that's not something that you're used to, it can take you a while to get your head around. Same goes with those complex store rollouts. If you're doing a nationwide rollout with 200 stores, where some might have 4 window panes, some might have point of sale banners, some might have floor stickers, understanding how to build out those really complex distribution lists and ship them out the door can also be a huge challenge without the right tools. But estimating is absolutely critical. As I said at the very start, estimating for wide format is a very, very different beast to what it is for a sheet fed or conventional print shop, in that materials tend to be consumed by the lineal feet. Market pricing will quite often dictate that it's sold on a square foot rate. There's often a lot more embellishment that needs to be done to the printed piece, a lot more labour perhaps that's involved in wide format than what's involved in conventional printing. And understanding and estimating for all of those things accurately is hugely important.
So I'm assuming you're not making wide format rolls of paper in substrate media in your garage there. So how are we going to see specialty wide format substrates? I mean, we have metallic papers, and when do we start getting really cool on the wide format stuff?
Right now. So
Excellent.
there's like I said, there's a lot of very cool stuff out there right now. People are most definitely printing on silvers and metallics and fabrics and all kinds of specialty adhesives and specialty applications. I think if you're looking at wide format and you're thinking white sheets of corrugated plastic or white sheets of PVC is it, you're limiting your scope greatly. We've got customers who are doing everything from fine art to dye sublimation on wide format. You know, they're doing interior corporate decor, and they're doing the exterior signage. So I think now is right now.
Awesome. I want to thank the panel so much. You can see the companies that they're from. They're all here at the show. I encourage you all to take a look at the wide format equipment they have. If you're at home watching on Facebook or YouTube, please check out their websites. I have all the Alliance listed on my website, or you can go to the Printiverse website, which you can link from there. Lots of information, lots of clicks, but it's worth your time. Thank you so much. Wide format is a growing opportunity, and everybody, whether or not you take the plunge, you should at least be discussing it and investigating it, because as I said before, if they're not printing wide format with you, they're printing it somewhere else. Thank you, everybody, so much.